mark the words that I do say. Who knows tomorrow could be your day. At last it comes to heaven or hell. Decide which now, do not delay. Come on, my brothers, let us pray. Decide which now, do not delay. Come on, my brothers, let us pray. Decide which now, do not delay.
Number 22. On the authority of Abu Huraira is quoted from Al Muwatta, prophetic hadith made easy. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah afflicts those he favors. Hadith Sahih. Man should have a favorable opinion of Allah at his death, fearing Allah, glory to him. Number 23. On the authority of Jabir, Muslim reported that the Prophet of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, none of you should die except having a favorable opinion of Allah. Verified by Bukhari, Hadith Sahih. Number 24. On the authority of Anas ibn Majah reported that the Prophet visited a dying youth and asked him, how do you feel? The young man replied, O Prophet of Allah, I have hope in Allah's mercy and I fear my sins. So the Prophet said, no sooner do these two feelings mix in a believer's heart under such circumstances, then Allah grants him what he wishes and protects him of what he fears. This hadith was also reported by Ibn Abu Dunya and verified by At-Tirmizi, who said it is Hasan Gharib, Hadith Hasan, dictating Shahada to the dying person. Number 25. On the authority of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Muslim reported that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, dictate your dying relatives to testify that there is no God but Allah. Hadith Sahih. Number 26. Our scholars commented that dictating Shahada to the dying person is a favorable tradition implemented by all Muslims so that this testimony becomes the last sentence he utters in this worldly life, thereby acquiring happiness. This would lead him to be included in the category designated by the Prophet's hadith. He whose last word were testifying that there is no God but Allah will join paradise. Reported by Abu Dawood based on the hadith narrated by Muaz ibn Jabal. May Allah be pleased with him. It was verified by Abu Muhammad Abdul Haq, dictating the dying person Shahada would draw his attention to the means that would help him fight Satan, who always tries to bring down his faith, as will be clarified herein. Hadith Sahih. He who attends to a dying person should utter good words. How to pray for the dying person at death and how to close his eyelids. Number 27. Muslim reported that Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, said that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, when you attend to a dying person, say kind words and supplicate benevolently for him as the angels say Ameen to what you pray. Salama added, so when Abu Salama died, I went to the Prophet and I told him. He then said to me, say, O Allah, forgive his sins and compensate me with a better person. So I said what the Prophet taught me, and I was compensated by a better one, the Prophet himself. May the peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith Sahih. Number 28. On the authority of on the authority of Shaddad ibn Aus, Ibn Majah reported that Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, if you attended to a dead person, close his eyelids, for sight follows the soul. and say good words, for the angels always support what the dead person's family says. Hadith Hasan. Hadith concerning bad death, how ending matters more. Number 29. Reported Muslim that Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, a person might carry out all the good deeds that would lead to paradise for a long period of time, only to end them with evil deeds that lead him to hell, and another person might carry out all the evil deeds that would lead to hell for a long period of time, only to end them with good deeds that lead him to paradise. Hadith Sahih, reported by a succession of narrators. Quoted from Bukhari is Sahal ibn Sa'ad's narration that Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, once said, a servant of Allah might be doing the very sins that would plunge him into hell, although he belongs to the people of paradise, and another might be carrying out good deeds, although he belongs to the folk of hellfire, because ending actions are what really counts. Hadith Sahih. Lady Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, used frequently to say, O Allah, you can change hearts. So please keep my heart unwavering in obeying your orders. So I said, O Prophet of Allah, you frequently pray like this. What do you fear? He replied, how can I feel secure, Aisha? And the hearts of the people are located between two fingers of Allah's. If He chooses to change a man's heart, He instantaneously does. Hadith Sahih. The soul will be given either glad or bad tidings before it leaves the body. Number 32. Ibn Mubarak reported that Hoya told him that Abu Sakhar said, quoting Muhammad, quoting Ka'ab al Qarzi, who said, when the soul of a believer is about to leave, the angel of death will come to him saying, peace be with you, friends of Allah. Allah sends greeting to you, and then takes the soul while reciting, those whose life the angel ends while they are virtuous will be saying, peace be with you. An authentic account. Number 33. Ibn Mas'ud said, when the angel comes to him, he will say, your Lord sends peace to you. Number 34. Al Bara bin Azib, commenting on the verses that reads, تحيتهم يوم يلقونه salam. Their greetings the day they meet him is peace, saying, the angel of death will give peace to a believer upon taking his soul. He will never go with the soul before giving him this greeting. An authentic account. Number 35. Bukhari reported on the authority of Ubadah ibn Samit that the Prophet said, whoever loves to meet Allah, Allah will love to meet him. And whoever dislikes meeting Allah, Allah will dislike to meet him. Aisha, or perhaps another one of his wives, said, we do had that. The Prophet replied, this is not what I mean, but upon that a believer will get glad tidings from Allah that He is pleased with him, and thereupon he will love to meet Allah, and Allah will love to meet him. As for the unbeliever, when he is dying, he gets news of the punishment of Allah, and thus hates what he hears about and hates meeting Allah. So Allah hates meeting him. Hadith Sahih. What follows a person to his grave and stays with him? Number 36. Muslim reported on the authority of Anas ibn Malik that the Prophet of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, three things follow a person to his grave. Two of them return while one remains with him. His family, money, and deeds follow him. His family and money return home while his deeds stay with him. Hadith Sahih. Number 37. On the authority of Abu Nu'aym, Qatada said, quoting Anas ibn Malik, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, seven things will yield a reward to a person even after his death: a knowledge he spread, a river he dug, a well he drilled, a palm tree he planted, a mosque he built, a copy of the Quran he bequeathed, a virtuous son who will pray for Allah to grant him forgiveness. Hadith Hasan. The severity of death, the grave, is the first step towards the hereafter. Number 38. Ibn Majah cited Hani ibn Usman as saying that Usman, may Allah be pleased with him, used to shed tears till they wet his beard whenever he stands by a grave. He was asked, when paradise and hellfire are mentioned, you would not cry. How do you cry over this? He said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the grave is the first stage of the hereafter. If a person is saved from its torment, then what comes after it is really easy. If one is not saved from it, what follows is really severe. Hadith Hasan. Number 39. Ibn Majah reported that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I have never seen a more horrible sight than that of grave. Verified by At-Tirmidhi, Hadith Hasan. Number 40. Ibn Majah reported that Al-Bara said, when we were with the Prophet, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, in a funeral, he sat at a grave and started shedding tears so heavily that his tears wetted the dust. Then he said, my brethren, for this you should prepare yourself. Hadith Hasan. How the dead exchange visits in their graves. Muslim reported on the authority of Jabir ibn Abdullah that the Prophet, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, when any of you enshroud his brother, let him choose a good shroud for him. Hadith Sahih. How the grave speaks and addresses its inhabitant daily. Abdullah ibn Ubaid ibn Umair said, Allah gives a tongue to the grave to speak with, and it will address a person, saying, O son of Adam, how come that you have forgotten me? Have not you known that I am a abode of decay, the abode of worms, the abode of loneliness, and abode of seclusion? An authentic account. Number 43. Abdullah ibn Ubaid ibn Umair is reported as having said, the grave would cry, saying, I am the dwelling of strangeness, the abode of loneliness, the abode of warmth, an authentic account. How the grave presses its inhabitants, even the virtuous one. An-Nisa'i. Abdullah ibn Umar reported that the Prophet, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, this one, that is Sa'd ibn Mu'az, for whom the throne of Allah, the merciful, was moved and the gates of paradise were open, and who was attended by 70,000 angels, was passed one once in the grave and then released. Hadith Sahih. Number 45. Aisha, the mother of the believers, may Allah be pleased with her, reported that the Prophet of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the grave had a pressure. If anyone was to be saved from it, Saad ibn Mu'az would. Hadith Sahih. The dead person is tortured when his family wails for him. That makes him suffer. Number 46. Abu Musa reported that the Prophet, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, a dead person will suffer from the wailing of the living people over his death. When a wailing woman says, bemoaning her husband, O my supporter, O my provider, the dead person will be moved roughly, and the angels will say to him, are you her supporter? Are you her provider? Hadith Hasan. What would be said on placing the dead person in his grave? Number 47. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said, when the companions wanted to dig a grave for the Prophet, they asked Abu Ubaidah to do that. He used to dig graves the way the people of Makkah used to. They also asked Abu Talha, who used to dig graves for the residents of Medina. They sent messengers to the two of them and prayed, O Allah, glory to you. You choose the one who digs the grave of your prophet. The messenger then found Abu Talha, who came immediately, whereas Abu Ubaidah could not be found then. So Abu Talha dug the grave of the prophet the way the residents of Medina used to, an authentic account. Number 48. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Lahad, a small hole at the side of the big grave is for us, while Shaq, a hole on the earth, is for others. Hadith Sahih. Standing by the grave after burying the dead person and praying for him. Number 49. Uthman ibn Affan, may Allah be pleased with him, said, after burying a dead person, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, would stand by the grave and say, seek forgiveness for your brother. Ask Allah for him not to hesitate in his answers, for he is being questioned now by the angels. Hadith Sahih. Number 50. Abdullah reported that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, she does not belong to us. The one who slaps her face, tears her clothes, and repeats the same expression of grieving that were uttered during the time of Jahiliyyah, pre-Islamic paganism. Hadith Sahih. Number 51. Abu Barda ibn Abu Musa said, Abu Musa got sick to the extent that he fainted. He was lying with his head in the lap of one of his family. A woman from amongst his relatives cried, but he could not stop her. When he gained his consciousness, he said, I have no relation with the ones who have been denounced by the Prophet. For the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, denounced the wailing woman, the woman who shaves her hair as a token of mourning, and the one who tears her clothes. Hadith Sahih. Number 52. Abu Umama reported that the Prophet of Allah cursed the one who slaps her face, the one who tears her clothes, and the one who damns or invades herself. Hadith Sahih. How angel questioned the dead person. One should seek refuge from the torture of the grave. Number 53. Anas ibn Malik reported that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when a person is placed in his grave and his friends turn their backs to him, he will hear the sound of their steps. Two angels will come to him and let him sit and said to him, "What do you think of this man who was sent to you?" The believer would answer, "I bear witness that he is the servant of Allah and his prophet." They will comment then, saying, "Look at your place in hellfire. You have been given a good place in paradise instead of it." So he will see both places. As for the hypocrite and the unbeliever, the angels will ask him, "What do you think of the man who was sent to thee?" And he will answer, "I do not know. I used to go along with people in what they say." Then they will say to him, "Cursed you are! Never did you have knowledge?" Then he will be hit with iron hammers on his ears. He will cry loudly to the extent that all the dwellers of other graves will hear him. Hadith Sahih. The famous hadith narrated by Al Bara ibn Azib that sums up the affairs of the dead at death and in the grave. Number 54. Both Abu Dawood al Taysali and Abd ibn Hamid in their Musnad verified collection of hadith, and Ali ibn Ma'bad in his book Obedience and Disobedience, together with Hinab ibn Asuri in his book titled Asceticism, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad, and other narrate this hadith. It is hadith sahih, which has many narrations and versions, with which Ali ibn Ma'bad was extremely concerned. Abu Dawood at-Talisi said, Abu Uwana told us, quoting Al-A'mash, quoting Al-Minhal ibn Amr from Zazan, quoting in turn Al-Bara ibn Azib, who said, "We went out with the Prophet of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, to attend the funeral of a man from Ansar. When he reached the cemetery, he was not buried yet. He was not buried yet. The Prophet sat down, and we encircled him in complete silence. Then he kept looking up and down at the sky and the earth, and then he said, "I seek refuge in Allah from the torture of the grave." He said it many times and added, "When a believer approaches the end of his life and is about to die, an angel sits next to his head and says to him, 'Come out, you virtuous soul, to enjoy Allah's forgiveness and satisfaction.' And so it smoothly comes out like a drop of water coming out of a jug." He said, Amr mentioned the following part in his narration of the hadith, but Abu Uwana did not. He said, "You might not see that, but white faced angels whose faces are as bright as the sun come down from paradise carrying shrouds and scent. They sit far away from him until the angel of death takes the soul. When he does, they immediately take it as Allah, glory to him, say, 'Our angels take his soul, and they never fail in their duty.' Then his soul leaves the body like the sweetest perfume ever. The angel takes it to heaven. Whenever they pass by any creature between the earth and the sky, he asks them, 'Whose soul is this?' And they answer, 'It is soul of so and so,' calling him with the best name he likes. Then they reach the gates of worldly sky, which open for him. The best inhabitants of each sky bid him farewell until they reach the seventh sky. Then it is said, "Write his record in Illiyin, the high place where the registers of the righteous are kept." as Allah says in the glorious verse, and what will explain to thee what Illiyin is? There is a register fully inscribed to which bear witness those nearest to Allah. And so it is written. Then it is said again, take him back to the earth. I promise them that as I created them from the earth, so I will return them and then take them out once more. Al Bara then added, so they return him to the earth and his soul goes back to his body. Then two austere angels come and reprimand him. They sit him and ask, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? So he answers, Allah is my Lord, Islam is my religion. Then they ask, what do you say about the man sent to you with Allah's message? He replies, he is the Prophet of Allah. They ask him again, how did you know that? He answered, he brought us manifest verses and miracles of Allah, so I believed him. Al Bara then commented, this is the meaning of the glorious words that reads, Allah will establish in strength those who believe with the word that stands firm in this world and in the hereafter. He added, then voice coming from the sky calls on, my servant told the truth. Grant him furniture and garments from paradise, and show him his place therein. So his grave is enlarged, and his charitable deeds take the form of a handsome, well dressed, sweet smelling man who says, you him. I am bringing you glad tidings of the satisfaction of Allah and the everlasting bliss of paradise. He says then to him, may Allah give you glad tidings. Who are you? Your face is laden with goodness. The man replies, this is your promised day. Or he said, your promised reward, and I'm your good deeds. I swear by Allah, you have always been quick in observing His orders and slow in disobedience Him. May Allah reward you. So he says, O Allah, establish the last hour so that I can go back to my family and property. Al Bara said, if he is a disbeliever who indulges in the pleasure of worldly life and forgets about the day of judgment, when he approaches the end of his life and is about to die, an an angel sits next to him. An angel sits next to his head and says to him, come out, you vicious soul, to suffer from the wrath and fury of Allah. Then black-faced angel, whose faces are as dark as the night, come down from hell carrying a shroud of fire. They sit far away from him until the angel of death takes the soul. When he does, they immediately clutch it. Then his soul is divided into his body, and the angels take it out, cutting his nerves in veins like a fork iron bar coming out from wet wool, giving the most disgusting smell ever. The angels take it to heaven. Whenever they pass by any creature between the earth and the sky, he asks them, whose foul soul is this? And they answer, it is soul of so and so, calling him with the worst name he has. Then they reach the gates of worldly sky, which do not open for him. Then it is said to them, take him back to the earth. I promise them that as I created them from the earth, so I will return them and then take them out once more. Al Bara said, so they throw him from the sky, and he reads the verse, if anyone assigns partners to Allah, he is if he had fallen from heaven and been snatched up by birds, or the wind had swooped like a bird on his prey and thrown him into a far distant place. Al Bara'a then added, so they return him to the earth, and his soul goes back to his body. Then two austere angels come and reprimand him. They seat him and ask, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? So he answers, I don't know. Then they ask, what do you say about the man sent to you with Allah's message? He cannot remember his name at that time. And they tell him that his name is Muhammad. He says, I don't know. I heard the people say that. Then they say to him, may you have no knowledge at all? At that point, his grave is narrowed until his organ quack. His vicious deeds take the form of an ugly, hideously dressed, bad smelling man who says to him, I am bringing you bad tidings of wrath of Allah and the everlasting torture of hell. He says then to him, who are you? Your face is laden with evil. The man replies, I am your vicious deeds. I swear by Allah, you have always been slow in observing His orders and quick in disobeying Him. Amar narrated in the hadith he reported from Minhal ibn Amr, quoting Zazan, quoting in turn Al Bara ibn Azib, that the Prophet, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, said, a deaf, mute creature who is equipped with a huge sledgehammer is assigned to attend to him. He hits him once so hard that every creature hears the sound except for man and the jinn. Then his soul is returned to him and he hits him again and again. The hadith is reported by Abu Dawood at-Talisi and verified by Ali ibn Ma'bad al-Jahunni, who added to it the following sentences: a deaf, blind creature who is equipped with a huge sledgehammer is assigned to attend to him. He hits him hard, so from his forelock to his waist, and then hits him again and again. In other version of hadith, he adds to the description of the sledgehammer. It is so heavy that if mankind and the jinn gather to move it, they will not be able to. He hits him once, after which he turns into dust. They his soul comes back. Then his soul comes back to him, and the creature hits him so hard that every creature on earth except for the jinn and mankind hears its dreadful sound. Then it is said, furnish his grave with two panes of fire and open to him a door of hell, and it is immediately done. Hadith Sahih.